Alrighty, so good evening from Concordia University's Force Space, located on unceded Indigenous lands in Jojage, Montreal. At Force Space, we facilitate daily activities that investigate what Concordia community members and their collaborators are working on, especially in terms of process-based research and university-wide initiatives. So we're very happy to bring you this event this evening. Welcome to Hauntography, a discussion of the remembered experience through absent photographs. It has been our pleasure to work with Concordia Public Scholar and doctoral candidate in the Department of Communication Studies, Felicity Hamer, to activate her research project for this Fourth Space mini residency. Felicity has teamed up with art history professor Rebecca Duclos, currently teaching a course focused on alternative accounts of the aesthetic experience. Together, Felicity, Rebecca, and students from both of their classes have created an entire universe here in Fourth Space and have come together for this discussion. A side note of thanks really to Rebecca, Felicity, and all of the students who have participated in this project and have spent the last couple of days here in Fourth Space building it up with all of your exciting projects exhibited throughout. I'll just mention that we are streaming live to YouTube, and I'll pop that into the chat in just a second. And I think we're ready to get going, so I'll pass over the mic to Rebecca and Felicity. Welcome in.
Yay! I don't even see Anna. Where are you?
I don't know. I think she's over there.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde, and welcome to this beautiful Force Space where we are right now on the Concordia downtown campus. As Anna mentioned, we're located on unceded Indigenous lands. The Ganigahaka Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters on which we meet today. My name is Rebecca Duclos, and I'm a professor in art history here at the university, and I'm the course instructor for Art History 388, called Studies in Narration. And before we turn to the woman of the hour, Felicity Hamer, whose research on hauntography has been so key in bringing us all together today, I wanted to give a shout out to all of our remote viewers and to set the scene just a little bit by describing what it feels like in Force Space right now for all of you who cannot be with us today. First of all, as most of us can attest, pandemic pedagogy has been a pretty wild place. I'm so proud of all 75 students in the ARTH 388 course who are here today with us in person and remotely for making this class one of the most exciting, fulfilling, and moving experiences that I've had as a professor for many years. The graciousness you've showed your peers and collaborators throughout the course has been matched only by the courage that you've demonstrated in your honest probing of transformative aesthetic experiences. So I want to thank you all. Since September, our class has been looking at alternative accounts of aesthetic experience. Much of this analytical and reflective work has revolved around telling very personal stories, analyzing aesthetic language, and engaging in thoughtful writing. The culmination of so much brave and sensitive investigation over the semester is being exhibited here today in Fourth Space. As their final public project, the students in 388 performed intimate interviews with a collaborator and produced the extraordinary interpretations and translations that surround us now. Felicity will tell us more about how we worked with her in approaching this assignment, so I'll simply say how animated and exciting this space looks. Video screens are alive with faces and voices engaged in interviews. We have numerous monitors playing edited interviews between students and their collaborative partners. We have animated digital works and short films showing on a large screen. Numerous reading and reflection nooks have been set up, allowing visitors to read personal reflections written by the students. The ARTH 388 curators have scattered question prompts and fun exercises throughout the space, and their interactive performative spaces set up to draw us into the narratives that emerged through this collaborative assignment. I'll turn to Felicity now to tell us more about her research that directly influenced the students' interview projects on hauntographs. We will engage in some conversation together. We'll ask a few of the students to come up and join us for some discussion of their work. We'll share some responses to the course, and we'll end with a live performance. So over to you, Felicity.
Welcome to our Fourth Space event, Hauntography, a discussion of remembrance through absent photographs. I'm so grateful for your interest in my research and excited to discuss the concept of hauntography here with you today. As our students know, having viewed my virtual lecture and Rebecca and my Q&A afterwards, this concept is central to my ongoing dissertation research. Developing Memory, Remembrance, Embellishment, and Hauntography. For the students in Rebecca's course, I would love to talk to you all, any of you who might be interested in sharing your interviews for inclusion in my PhD research. I'll let you know later how we can work on that together. So what are we all doing here today? We are here because Anna Waclavec, in her infinite wisdom, brought Rebecca and I together, knowing that we would be a good match. I was looking for a way to share some of my ongoing dissertation research, and Rebecca was looking for opportunities for her students to engage in some live events. When Rebecca first described her intentions for her aesthetic experience course to me, and I discussed my research with her, we realized that Anna was right, it was a good match. So we developed an assignment around this concept of hauntography I'm proposing, a concept I think I should describe before we continue to explore what the students have done here today. So I've prepared a little abstract. Remembrance entails an imaginative renegotiation of the past within the ever-changing present. Often equated with a kind of deception, this imaginative renegotiation does not obstruct pure uncorrupted memory, but rather, it is through this activity that memory is possible. A valuable tool of remembrance, photography is prone to a similar discourse of evidence and deceit. Like memory, photographs have a connection to the past that is reconsidered with each viewing. Bereavement can render this imaginative component of the photographic experience more conspicuous. A longing for cross-temporal sustained connections can prompt some individuals, the bereaved in particular, to form relationships with photographic portraits of otherwise inaccessible individuals. Lavished with special attention, cherished photographic objects capture more than a fleeting moment. They have the ability to speak across time. Reintegrating the likeness of absent individuals into the present, some photographic objects become so enmeshed in the activity of imaginative remembrance that their ability to participate is no longer dependent on the viewable object. Misplaced or intentionally avoided, these mementos can take on what I call a hauntographic presence, retaining an effective charge that echoes the very phantoms they were meant to commemorate. Using detailed visual and textual analysis in my research, I examine various forms of embellishment that integrate the likeness of absent individuals into a common temporal frame with the bereaved. Introducing and developing the concept of hauntography, my project follows the imagination's role in remembrance as it moves through the photographic medium. So hauntographs essentially are personally significant photographs that are misplaced or intentionally avoided and yet still connected to memory of absent individuals. So perhaps you would like to describe the assignment that you tasked with your students with.
So knowing that Felicity was working on hauntograps and knowing that our course on aesthetic experience had been engaging in various interview processes and also looking at aesthetic vocabularies around transformative experience, we asked the students if they could work with a collaborator. And this collaborator was described as anybody in their circle. So many of you chose people who are very close in your circle, oftentimes members of your family. Other ones of you worked with your friends, and some even worked with people who they didn't know all that well, but were close to. And the question that each of you asked, or the series of questions, involved a hauntograph for this other collaborator. And the descriptions of this image, this missing image, were haunting in many instances. This was usually where you all first opened up. You asked the collaborator to describe as best they could the hauntograph. Sometimes we saw the image, but most often we never saw the image. We just saw, we just heard the descriptions of what this hauntograph looked like. The key for the assignment was that the students really focused in on a hauntograph that for this other collaborator expressed some form of transformational experience, or it somehow represented or depicted that experience. And those two words alone have been ones that we've talked about in the class, and we've questioned, can an aesthetic experience or a transformative experience actually be represented or be depicted? So this was really the kind of nut of your conversation with your collaborator. So there were some really extraordinary narratives and stories and tales and confessions that came out, which in itself was, just a feat of organization for the students to have created this moment with a collaborator. But they went even further. The students were asked to, in a way, translate or somehow sort of redigest this interview experience. One of the choices they had was to edit the interview, which in many cases was over an hour long, to edit the interview down to 5 minutes, which was a challenge and a feat, and we're really grateful to all of you that you were able to do that. The second choice was for people to do some kind of a personal written reflection. So in those cases, we never even saw the interview. Instead, what we've encountered in this space is the reflection upon the interview, and that's come in various forms, written forms. We have zines, we have papers, we have poetry, some really beautiful reflections. A third choice was also offered that was really open-ended to any students who wanted to reinterpret and translate the interview experience into some other form. So we have visual form, performances that you'll see. We have sculptures in the room. So it was really marvelous that the students were able to retranslate the experience into a different medium if they chose. So that's what we are surrounded by now.
And I think that we're going to invite a few of these students up to talk to us a little bit about what they shared in the space.
Great. So we'd love to ask Jacqueline Moody if she would come up and join us and tell us a little bit about her project and really about the process that you underwent. Come on up, Jacqueline. You can sit here and
wave to my mom.
And you can demask if you want. Feel free. So Jacqueline, you
should we give Jacqueline a microphone?
Oh, yes. Is this? Am I guessing, Max? Is this the one? This one here?
Well, I don't think that people in the live stream will hear you. You could just talk to mine.
There's a black switch on the bottom, I think. So while Jacqueline's turning her mic on, most of the students in the class will remember Jacqueline's story. I think it was through Story Roulette. Is that how we ended up hearing one of your stories about your dad, who might be here?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Max, is that? I don't think it's working. We're still working on it.
There's a green light.
There
Oh,
we go.
yep. Okay, now it's good. Yes, I don't see my father, but he said he was going to show up today.
He's saying we know more about all of your parents than they know that we know about them.
It's true. I've been pretty open about my parental upbringing throughout this term. It's definitely something that I definitely explored.
So tell us about your collaborator interview and where it was a very special interview. So you can take us through that.
Yeah, it's a very intimate tale about the departure of 4 particular loved ones at different points in my life, which is my grandpa, my mom, my grandma, and my aunt. And 2 of them are very close and very special to me, and the other 2 I didn't quite know, but when family members pass on, it's obviously traumatic or a tragedy in such sense. So I wanted to basically do an interview alternatively with members of my family who I could not necessarily speak to in that kind of way, but kind of speak to in a metaphorical sense, and thus speak to myself, kind of, understand how I feel about these family members and how they passed on and such.
And where was the Hauntograph in that project for you?
Well, the thing is, there's a part of my performance that I will be doing later once my installation is officially set up that has a direct memory hauntograph for me. So I did cyanotypes, which is a type of printmaking of basically my imaginary stills that I have of those memories of those being departed.
That makes me think about, and maybe some of the students will remember this too, when Felicity came to visit our class virtually, you had some really interesting questions from the students in terms of, they said, well, what qualifies as a hauntograph? And do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what, I don't remember the exact question, but yeah, I don't know, what counts as a hauntograph? I mean, I kind of I see it as a photograph that you still think of. Like when you think of somebody usually who you've lost or you don't have access to, it isn't just that you remember them, you're remembering a photograph that helped you that made you feel a connection to them, that maybe you looked at together, one that is a favorite that for you kind of encompasses something about them or about your time together. So I don't know.
Because I remember
That's-
we started with that, and then I think one of the students said, well, I think it bridged into, well, does video count? Like, what if it's a
right.
still from a video?
Yeah.
And then there was a really interesting provocation that was, does it have to be a photograph at all? Can it be a mental photograph? And then someone said, can a dream be a hauntograph?
Yeah.
So I just bring that up because, I think, Jacqueline, your interpretation of what a hauntographic experience might be like, and how you were trying to sort of, reach your deceased relatives through this idea of imagined or remembered imagery, was really different. And I think it was an interesting challenge to this notion of what is a hauntograph.
Yeah, I was definitely playing the association game with the terms that are associated with hautographs. So I kind of went left field, but still encompassing the realm of what a hauntograph is. And I think that's definitely, I've never really been literal with my work, so I go off the abstract, and I really appreciate the allowance that you've allowed me to explore with the abstract meaning of a hauntograph rather than its literal, tangible sense.
That's great. I mean, I think it's only connected to photography because that's how I remember, but I think that it's so fantastic to see where other people took it. And,
Yeah.
and I'm already thinking like of our next guest, Samantha, who's, sorry, Melissa Samaha, whose video is on display here as well. She also, she was not in your class, she was in my class, and she wasn't tasked with trying to find a hauntograph, but the film that she produced it's connected to dreams that she has of somebody that she lost. So it's very connected to what you're talking about right now too. So you guys should talk after.
Exactly.
As well.
Yeah.
If we had the space to do it safely, I'd get you guys up at the same time. But yeah, I think it's fantastic to see what other directions people took this idea, because I know of myself that, of course, for me, I'm thinking, I think of photographs because it's just emotional for me and always has been. That's how I remember, and I remember through them, and even when they're missing, right? But I feel like this is, the same phenomenon. We're talking about the same thing.
I feel like the subject is definitely very appropriate when artists are working on it, because it can go really left field in such a great sense that it can invoke different ways of thinking about something that might seem more technical. So I just think it's a great crowd to really explore with different people coming from different sections of art, and we're able to collaborate, and see each other's work, even if it is a lot of virtual, and we're kind of blessed to be able to have this space right now to see in a physical form, physically together, which is great.
And maybe one last question before Melissa comes on up. For those folks who aren't here, is it giving anything away if you describe what your interactive engagement performance is going to look like, or what elements you drew?
Well, I definitely brought a lot of different art mediums together. So there's printmaking, electronic art. So there's like motors and sensors that, there's a lot of technical elements into there. And then there's sculpture. I'm a sculpture-based artist, so I had to add those elements, even though I'm not taking that this semester at Concordia. And then performance. So I'll be interacting with all these elements and asking the gallery goers to also interact with the elements as well, at their discretion, of course. And hopefully it'll be well received.
I'm sure. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Super. Melissa, are you in the crowd? Come on up.
You can just hand it to me if you like. Nope. Hi, Melissa. Thank you for coming.
Melissa.
Thank you. So Melissa is in my class, Comms 367, Media, Memory, and Mourning, Witnessing rather. And when I told you that I was going to have this event, you had shared this video with me. I was like, please show it. And so Melissa Samaha's video has been showing facing the street for most of the day, and you told me that you might like to say a few words about it.
Yeah, so Sama in Arabic means the sky. So it's a short experimental film that tells the story of a young girl named Sama who tries to look up for answers and try to find her deceased father through memory, imagination, and her dreams. So young Sama represents me when I was a child because I lost my father when I was 4 years old. So I don't know him and like I can't recall him. So all I know about him is like the photographs I have with him or like the stories my family members used to tell me. So based on that and like based on my imagination and like the dreams I had about him, I took the opportunity in my first bachelor to create this film where I explore like the day or I explore the event of being with my father at the beach because like it was my mother used to tell me because no, he used to take me to the beach a lot where we used to play and enjoy our time. So I don't remember this day. So I tried to create this film as a visual representation of the memory I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and for those of you who are joining us virtually, it's really, really spectacular. Will there be a way for anybody to check it out? It isn't really up anywhere right now, right?
No, because like I'm waiting for like it's a draft of the film, so I'm
Okay.
waiting for the sound design so I can post it to festivals.
Okay, so
and like
keep your eyes open for Melissa Samaha's video. It's really, really, really fantastic. So I tried to prepare some, okay, but when I was first introduced to this exploration of your memory of your father through his photographs, I was first introduced to it via your submission to an exercise in our class, the Dear Photograph exercise that we performed the second week of class, where students were invited to send me a personal photograph with a few lines about why they had selected that one, and that is being shown in one of the photo booths over there. And it was a really great way for us to get to know each other, the second class, and it was really surprising what people were willing to share too, and it kind of, I felt, even though the class was virtual, it made it feel a bit more intimate somehow. I really liked it. So you shared that most of the photographs you have of your father, these objects that prompt and help develop your memory of him, most of these photographs depict holidays and other such kind of notable events. I was wondering if this video, in a sense, is your effort to fill in those gaps and produce more kind of mundane scenes. Not that there's anything mundane about your film. It's beautiful, but you know what I mean? Like as you just described, actually, you kind of already answered my question, I suppose.
Yeah.
But like to make these undocumented moments viewable.
Yeah. So when I remember my father, I used to remember him from the photographs I have with him, which mainly were on holidays or on like certain occasions. So I rarely remember him on like a natural, like a regular day playing or like going to the store and like regular activities. So and like because my mother used to tell me like he used to take me a lot to the beach, like more like the summer we spend it on the beach, we used to play. So I can't, when I remember, I don't remember this event. I just like remember the photographs on Christmas, on this event, on my birthday, and like stuff like that. So this I took the opportunity to visualize this event. And like because I can't remember, I was like 4 years old. No matter how like my mother used to like describe the event, I still can't like take this memory. I can't remember him. So yeah, I took this film as like an opportunity to have a visual material when I want to remember him, I can like recall this film and like enjoy seeing this film. And like the film was not scripted like this. It was more of and like not experimental film. It was a short film with a plot, characters, like it was a regular film, but due to some setbacks on the set, I had to explore. So I let my actors perform. I gave them some guidance, and like I let the actors perform together as if he is the father, and like she's his daughter, and like I just like rolled the camera and like took specific moments. So it is a natural, not like it's not acted. I just like let the actors play together, and like I edited the film the way I see it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Who's the other? Oh, so you shared with me also, and I did check first that it was okay that I ask you this right now, but you shared with me in a private Zoom that you once found a photograph that depicted your mother and your father together, and that it surprised you because you had not really thought of them as a couple. So how has this new clue changed the way you imagine or dream him? Because you say you dream him.
Yeah. Actually, it does change like how I perceive him, because I usually saw him either alone or with me, and like I try to construct stories and like fantasize about like a day or like the activities. But like when I saw this particular picture of them being together close to each other, I was like, whoa, this existed. Like I never thought of them together. Yeah, I know he's married to my mom, but like I never saw them together. So when I saw like this picture, him hugging her, I was like, oh, this
Right.
exists. So when I remember him, or like I had a dream 4 weeks ago, I don't know, about him and my mother together. So like these photographs helped me construct my family picture, and not just me and him. So I have now a family picture with my mom too.
That's so nice.
So are you still kind of actively seeking out more kind of
Yeah.
clues
Yeah,
like that?
Yeah.
And I was going to ask, do you have the next film in your mind?
Yeah, actually, I'm going back to my home country on Christmas. So I'm trying to look up for the pictures of my father alone, like during his childhood, and like
Oh, wow.
his picture, like my mom maybe has, or like the family members. So I'm trying to take these pictures and like maybe make them in documentary or like a film. I don't know, but like I'm trying to think
Oh, I'm
about
excited
this.
I'm excited to know what you find
Yeah.
if ever you think
I never
to let
like
me
I never
know.
saw him as a child, so
Right.
that's interesting to see him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
so
sharing your
much.
film and
Yeah,
all of
it's
that.
so beautiful.
Thank you
And
so much.
For people who are here, it's Melissa's film shows on the other side of this large screen, faces out to the street, so you'll get a chance to see that. It's super.
Thank you.
Well, familial conversations and dreamscapes and interviews and intimations have been a real theme in this class. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask Emma Garon if she would come and join us. Emma interviewed her grandmother, and her short animation, in fact, just finished on this screen that I'm looking at. The audience at home can't see that, but it'll rotate and you'll get to see Emma's conversation with her grandmother. Emma, I was lucky to have you in a previous class, and I knew what an astonishing drawer you are and an animator. And so one of my first questions is how you chose to depict and translate that interview between yourself and your grandmother.
So I thought it was a great opportunity to like do another medium I don't usually do. So animation was the first thing that came to mind. And also, I didn't want to picture an image. I wanted to put the focus on what was being said. I didn't want to show. I wanted to like let the words of my grandma be the main focus. So I simply animated our Zoom interview we had, and I wanted to, yeah, like put the focus on the words.
Can you, again, for folks who aren't here, can you tell us about those words? What transpired between yourself and your grandmother in the interview?
So basically, I saw this as an opportunity to really like explore memories of my grandmother, and it was a memory she had when she was 4, so it was still very like a long time ago. So I just think like through the process of questioning, she was able to like remember herself, get back in this memory through me saying plenty of questions. And I think we managed to like get a clear picture of what that was.
What was the transformative moment that she talks about?
It's about an image of a rock strike with her, and that was not the main focus of the event, but it was there. So whenever she sees a rock who was just like behind the scenes of the event, she thinks of this event. So I find it interesting how just a background character can have such an impact in your memory.
And do you, I mean, here's a question for both of you. Do you think that memory, we talked about this a little bit in one of the episodes that we did together, how memory changes when we revisit it at different points in our own life? Like if Emma talked to her grandmother 10 years ago,
Right.
and first of all asked her about a hauntograph, I wonder if she would have come up with the same one. And if she did, would she have seen different things and remembered different things in that image than she did now? So I guess it's the idea of, if there's this image, how do we relate to it differently from different perspectives over time with different interlocutors? It's the same image.
Yeah, but it's constantly,
constantly
constantly
alive.
changing, and if it isn't, then you're not thinking about it. You know, no, but like, no, if you're thinking about it, if it's still something that's important to you, then it's constantly changing. It's when you stop thinking about it that it stops changing, but sorry, I'm just gonna go in circles, but,
No.
so what you're wondering is, how would it have been different, for her grandmother, or how would you have received that information from her?
I feel like
Yeah.
since it's like part of your unconscious, the memory, like through your different life experience, it will change, it will shift. And just as she told me, like seeing rocks, she remembers different fragments of that memory. So it's like through time, you get back fragments. Yeah.
Is your grandmother the type of person who has a very good long-term memory? I mean, was she really searching for this memory, or it was like so fresh for her, even though it was, I don't know, 70, 80 years ago or something?
Yeah, she told me it's something she thinks about often. So I think it's like right in her mind. And I think I really like this assignment because it made me focus on more like questioning stuff I wouldn't usually.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you for
Interesting.
sharing that
Thank
with
you.
us. Yeah, and everybody will get a chance to listen to the exchange. It's very beautiful. Thank you so much, Emma.
Thank you.
Okay. Next and last, actually, we'd like to have Haley come up. Oh, there you are, right? Yes. And Haley, we're going to talk to you for a few minutes, and then this little outfit is also yours. So this is a great example of an interchange that Haley had with her. Well, I won't even. You get to tell the story with her collaborator, and Haley's choice was number 3, which was to reinterpret or translate this interview experience into another medium. And so that is where the next part of this event is going to go. But maybe you can recount the story that you told me in my office the other day about how you even got to this interview and then what happened.
Okay, so I chose to interview my mom, and actually, at first I had chosen a bunch of other people to interview, and they had all bailed on me and were not reliable. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll choose one of my parents. And actually, my roommate suggested my mom. So it wasn't my first thought. And now after the interview, I am super grateful that I did choose to interview her, because I learned so much about something that was really special to her, a relationship with her best friend growing up. And when they were 19, they went backpacking together through Europe. And so this is when the photo was taken of her best friend. And she remembers everything about the moment that she took the photo. So my mom was the photographer, and it's just her best friend caught in a ray of sunlight and smiling and laughing and looking so happy. And do you want me to tell more? Yeah, the entire story.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's a good story,
It's
if you want.
transformative. Yep.
And so my mom knew right away that she had taken a beautiful photo of her friend that just captured her completely, and her happiness and the joy that they shared that day specifically. And sadly, about 20 years later, when I was a young child, her friend became an alcoholic, a very severe alcoholic, and she disappeared. And my mom lost her, and this photo remains under her bed. She keeps it there, and the last time she looked at it was when she brought it to her friend, who she ended up finding, and she had this whole plan that she would, snap her out of it and make her come back and show her the photo and say, "This is you. I captured this perfect photo of you, and I know you're this person." And she had a plan to leave it with her so that she could put it on her fridge, and it would remind her of herself. And in my interview, my mom told me how she couldn't leave it behind when it came to the end of her visit, because it just captured something so something that she felt like she wouldn't have again, and that it was something she couldn't let go of. So now she has it under her bed and in a box. And yeah, so I learned so much about my mom and about her friend, and yeah, it was a really special interview.
I hear there were lots of tears.
Yeah, the recording that's uploaded to my Moodle is basically me crying. But yeah, it's really special to have that recording.
Haley, thanks so much for sharing that story, and thanks to your mom for letting go and letting that story come out. We've talked about this a little bit, but it's as if the assignment was to engage in this discussion with somebody. But in many cases, it's almost like the assignment itself and your interchange and your conversation with your loved ones or your people in your circle actually almost became a transformative experience unto itself. I heard quite a few of you say that what happened to you during the interview process was very moving, and it seemed like that was very particular in your case.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. I know. Don't start
You already
crying
know.
yet.
You already know how I
I know.
reacted when you told me this.
I know. It's really. So we have not heard the song that emerged from this experience. So we're hearing this fresh with everybody in the room. Would you like to play it for us?
Yes, I would.
Okay. There might be some mic jiggling that needs to go on if Max is. Okay.
Perhaps I can help with the. Oh, you got it.
This is, I'll be the interlude to say, this is also really fun for us here because, as some of you in the audience know, Felicity is herself a beautiful singer and has had a band for many years. So
I can't play guitar.
It's kind of a nice homage to Felicity's appearance in our class.
Oh, I don't know.
It's great. Feel free to move yourself around. We should turn our.
So as Rebecca knows, when Rebecca told me about your story, I shared with her that I also have a photograph like your mother's in my closet that I took of a friend that was lost and then found in a pawn shop, framed. So I bought it, my picture, and brought it home. And it's in my closet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten. I'd kind of forgotten it was in my closet until I heard that story.
Yeah. Yeah. That was. Yeah. You two have lots of connections. So we'll mute ourselves so that we don't.
I thought I did, and then I undid.
Okay. Gonna try and, my hands are a bit shaky. They were 19 years old, the world by the tail, matching sweaters, matching desert boots, away from home and on their own for the first time. They did everything together. It was just her face, but she captured her. Her eyes were sparkling, a smile of joy, pure. She face shining, she saw it like sunlight. They were in Lagos, Portugal, drinking coffees and sitting on a stone monument in the main square where everyone met. The day was crisp and fresh and sunny. They didn't have to wear their coats. They sat basking in the sunlight and all the feelings of freedom. Etched in your heart, etched in your mind, etched in the time. Pure joy, but kept under the bed. Layers of dust, unopened for years. Memory box, was it forgotten all the time gone by? last time the photo was brought out, it was when she tried to reach her. They cried and she thought about leaving it behind for her to keep. But how could she part with something that she could never capture again? It's a longing for her, for the person she was. It's the looking at her, at the person she was. Come back to the surface. Come back, come back, come back, come back. The photo, originally capturing pure joy, continued to capture more and more the changes and shifts in life between them. The pain and loss that time brought. It wasn't a photo anymore. It was a message, a tool, a way to reach someone who is no longer there, though not too far away. She wished for a crystal ball, a way the photo could become a telephone to the past, to talk to the woman and tell her, don't go down that path. That photo, that moment of pure joy, didn't carry them through their lives together as she always thought it would. Her eyes still sparkle, now a sense of loss, face still glowing after the glowing start. A face of joy captured. I imagine the photo making a print on her vision. The sparkling eyes, glowing skin, radiant smile. It lasts long after looking away, as if she had looked right at the sun. Thank you so much.
Haley, thank you. Thank you. Honest to God, every single time in this class, you folks have just completely knocked it out of the park.
I missed the art history department. I'm very happy in communication studies, but
No, this is what they
it's like
do.
I can tell you,
It's
I miss
just-
art students.
You're incredible. Wow. Okay.
Has your mother heard that?
Her grandmother
watching?
has heard it though.
I played it over FaceTime for my grandma, her mom, who has dementia now. And so she didn't quite remember until I helped her a lot. And then I played it for her. And it's also really beautiful because she started remembering as I was singing and got really emotional. So I'm not sure if my mom's on the live maybe she was watching and probably would have described.
Yeah.
I got a video taken.
I guess that those who are watching through the live stream probably couldn't hear what you just said, unfortunately, right? Are you able to?
Sure, I'll just do a quick translation.
Sorry, I should have brought you the mic.
Yeah, no, it was very sweet because Felicity asked if Haley's mom had actually heard that song yet, and Haley said no, but her grandmother had heard it. And Haley's grandmom has dementia, and through some discussion about her this person, her mother's friend, her grandmother started to remember this person. And as Haley was singing, more memories started to come back for her grandmother, and her grandma actually got quite emotional in remembering this young woman who was friends with her own daughter. So yeah, I think that this is again one of the ripple effects of the work that you've been doing in this course is that you keep involving other people in your lives and in your stories and in your telling. And so again, I feel, I'm getting all
I know.
cracked up. It's hard.
I keep trying not to get too kind of, yeah.
Because we've said a few times, this course is more like life than it is like school. And you've really shown us how beautiful life can be, even in its little tragedies. And I think that's really something that came out through this assignment. I think the idea of a hauntograph was particularly potent, and we really have Felicity to thank for that. All of you could have interviewed somebody about a photograph, but there's something about a hauntograph that really holds, it's like it holds some key to some indescribable experience or relationship. And I don't know, how you just put your finger on that, Felicity, but it's a beautiful research area, and it gave us a beautiful entree.
Well, I definitely feel very supported as I try to go and finish my dissertation writing now, obviously, which is what the new year is going to bring. And this has been, you've all given me so many more ideas, and just, like I said, I just feel so supported, and I really appreciate it.
That's the idea. And maybe that's a good segue before we tune out and say goodbye to our Zoom folks out there and our YouTube folks, and for us to stay in the fourth space together. But it's a good segue for Felicity to further invite you into her research.
Right.
And this is a really incredible pairing between an art history course and a researcher in communication studies. And normally, we all pass in our last assignments and it's like, that's it, I had a great year. But
you're not done with me.
We're not done yet. So Felicity's going to tell you a little bit about.
I took off my reading glasses that I recently had to start wearing, so I'm just going to hold it a distance. So as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this, I would love to talk to any of you who might be interested in sharing your interviews with me for inclusion in my PhD research. And I've produced a consent form to this end that is at the entrance. You see them over there? And if you are interested in this opportunity to share your observations, please fill out the form and submit it to the lovely Margaret Lapp. She, Rebecca's teaching assistant. Margaret will collect completed forms and place them in a sealed envelope. I don't want anybody to feel like this is going to affect the grade in either of our classes. This envelope will remain sealed until well after the grades are submitted. Whatever your decision, I really appreciate your participation in this event today. Thank you.
So thank you to Felicity. Thank you to all her students who, a few of them are here, as you know, we talked about this, but they're also, there's work scattered in and out from Felicity students, in particular at the photo booth here.
The Dear Photograph assignment that I mentioned.
Which is really beautiful.
Yeah, and so thank you to all of my students. Thank you to all of your students. Thank you to the student curatorial assistants. Emma, Hannah, Elena, Mylène, Jelly, Chloe, and Jacqueline. To your TA.
My TA,
Margaret
Lapp. Huge
Who's
shout
worked
out
very,
to
very, very hard.
Margaret.
Do you want to come do a curtsy or anything? She's like, I didn't want to be in the.
I know. Take a bow
Margaret
for
didn't
the
want to be on the
camera.
mic.
Keep going. Yay,
There she
that's
is.
Margaret. Yay.
So thank you. And of course, the fourth space staff.
Yeah.
Especially Doug Moffat and Anna Waklavek. I've never had to say your name out loud. I hope I said it properly. Hannah Wakovec, thank you for bringing us together. And to all of those who joined us in person and virtually, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Bye, everyone. And to all of us who are still here, make yourselves at home, greet each other. Many of you have only seen yourselves in little Zoom squares or lying down on a football field in September. Remember those days? So yeah, the Force Space is yours right now. So enjoy yourselves and all of the beautiful work that is scattered throughout this whole space. Okay, that's it for the formal portion of our event, and we'll talk to you all now.